In this video, we're going to start talking about the Edit Stream page. So I bet you can guess what this page is going to do. Anytime a user comes to the Edit Stream page, we're going to allow them the opportunity to edit the title or the description of a already created stream. Now, in this video in particular, we're going to talk about how a user can get to this page and how we're going to figure out what stream a user is trying to edit. Now, when I say that, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So let me lay out a little scenario here for you. If you recall, when we show the index page, we're going to show that delete and edit button next to any stream that a user has created. And so at some point in time, a user is going to click on this edit button right here. When a user clicks on edit, they're going to be navigated over to the edit stream page. And so when we come over to this page, we need to know what stream a user is attempting to edit. In other words, we need to kind of communicate which edit button the user clicked on over here to this component. This component needs to know what stream the user is trying to edit. Now, in order to do this, there's two different approaches we can use. One approach we've seen earlier on inside this course, and another approach we're going to be able to use only because we are now making use of React Router DOM. So let's talk about these two different approaches that we can use to communicate the stream that the user is trying to edit from clicking on this button over to the edit stream component. Okay, so option number one would be to use something like a selection reducer. Now, we've already made use of a selection reducer before. We used it inside of the first Redux app we put together inside this course. If you recall, we had that songs application where a user could click on a song, and then we had a selection reducer that recorded which song the user had clicked on. So as soon as the user clicked on a song, we updated the data being returned from that reducer, and that was then shown on the screen to the user. So we can make use of a selection reducer this time around as well. We could say that as soon as a user clicks on this edit button, we would dispatch an action that says that a user is trying to select or trying to edit this stream right here. And then we can make sure that we communicated that information to the edit stream page. So again, that is one approach we could use. Now the second approach we can use is only going to be available because we are now making use of React Router DOM. So the second approach would be called URL-based selection. With this approach, we're going to essentially make sure that whenever a user clicks on this link right here, as opposed to just throwing them over to some path like streams/edit, they will instead go to some address or some path that has the ID of the stream that they are trying to edit inside of the address bar. So in other words, with URL-based selection, we're going to put the ID of the stream that is being edited inside the URL. Now, that's a little bit challenging to understand, so let's take a look at a quick diagram to help you understand what I mean by that. All right, so we looked at this diagram a while ago. We had looked at this when we were talking about navigation inside of our application. And we had said that we had a collection of different paths that would route our user to a bunch of different components. So I told you that we would use stream/edit for stream edit, stream/delete for stream delete, and streams/show for stream show. But if we want to use URL-based selection, then we're going to change these paths right here just a little bit. Let me show you how these would change if we want to use URL-based selection. And as a quick reminder here, the entire idea is that we're trying to communicate what stream a user is trying to edit down into this component. All right, so here's how we would change things if we wanted to use URL-based selection. So notice how we now have streams/edit/ID. We have streams delete ID and streams ID as well. So the common theme between stream edit, stream show, and stream delete is that each of them are operating on a very single stream. With stream edit, we're trying to edit a very specific stream. With stream delete, we're going to try to delete a very specific stream. And with stream show, we're trying to show the user a very specific stream as well. So because these are all working with very specific records, we could use URL-based selection with each one. So you'll notice that they all have their paths changed just a little bit. Each one of them has a final slash and then a :ID. Now :ID right here, specifically with the colon, means that ID or that part of the URL is essentially a variable. So rather than having like :ID, we are essentially saying that if a user goes to streams edit/anything, a user will be going to stream edit. So we could have a URL like streams edit/50. And that would indicate that the user is trying to edit the stream with the ID of 50. If a user went to streams edit 85, that would mean that we should show the stream edit component and that the user is trying to edit the ID or the record with the ID of 85. It's the same thing with the other paths that you see on here as well. If a user goes to streams/92, it means that we should show stream show, and the user is trying to view the record with an ID of 92. So again, anytime that you see colon and then some label inside the path, that essentially means it is a variable. So because we can put the ID of the record that the user is trying to edit inside the URL, we can make use of React Router DOM to look at the URL and pull off just that portion of the URL, like just that little variable right there. And so again, if it's something like, say, 17, then we can take that 17 and pass it as a prop into the stream edit component. And so then the stream edit component will know that it needs to show the stream 17 and allow a user to edit specifically the stream with ID 17. All right, so that's pretty much the idea. Again, we had two options here. We could either use a selection reducer or URL-based selection. Wherever possible, we prefer to use URL-based selection because there are a couple of other benefits around it that are only going to make sense once we start putting this solution together. So we are going to come back to this topic once we start working on it a little bit more, and I'm going to point out some other big benefits around using URL-based selection. All right, so enough of the high-level concepts here. Let's take a quick pause right here. When we come back to the next section, we're going to start updating our routing configuration to make use of these kind of variables inside of our URL. Then we'll figure out how we can access that piece of information inside of our stream edit component. So quick pause, and I'll see you in just a moment.